This time on the Tree of Life. Instead of avoiding water, I find ways to procure and retain H2O. A 40-day retreat for a son of man means fasting, slowing down, and vows of silence. A sage reveals his diet when trying to find his purpose in the field. During this existence, we are given but two options: remain inside of our shells or grow into a great tree. The Tree of Life. The last time on the Tree of Life, water was something that I was trying to avoid. During these hot summer months, I ended up suffering from a heat stroke. And when I realized that this was due mostly to the fact that I was not intaking enough H2O, I had to take a second glance at water. And then I asked myself, what would Yeshua do? In the Gospel of John, chapter 4, Jesus talks about never thirsting ever again. And it reads, "If you only knew what God gives, all those who drink from this well will thirst again. The water that I will give will become a spring which will provide life-giving water and eternal life." The day that I suffered from my heat stroke was the morning in which I practiced Kundalini Yoga, which is a stimulating and pain-relieving yoga technique. It got me wondering, did Jesus have privilege to such information as Kundalini Yoga? How did he go about procuring water in his day in the arid desert region of Galilee? And how would he go about procuring water this very day? Some of us reach for a bottle, filtration pitcher, or even settle for city tap filled with unnatural chemicals. The human vehicle is 60 to 75% water. This means that H2O is the most important thing that we ingest. When I arrived on my 40-day retreat, there was an old-fashioned well pump which gave out some of the most delicious water that I had ever tasted. After day 7, I had to move camp and tried some of the local lake water. To do this, I simply used a 1-gallon jug, a piece of cloth, and a rubber band. Shout out to Brian and Sue from Wisconsin for providing a jug. I poured the water from my jug through another paper towel filter into my water pot. I boiled this for only 1 minute since I am below an elevation of 6,500 feet. At that elevation, at least 3 minutes is required, or for murky, stagnant water. I use the water to make my evening tea and pour the rest into my canteen.
Tastes like the tea I drink every night. This time it's not even really any smoky flavor to it. So sometimes you get a little bit of that smoke flavor in there, but I mean, it doesn't taste like pond water. It doesn't taste salty. It doesn't taste anything other than what it should. So thanks, Wabina.
The second technique that I used to disinfect my water was solar disinfection by utilizing the power of the sun's UV rays. If you can, use a BPA-free number 2, 3, or 4 plastic or even glass is perfectly fine. However, avoid number 7 plastic, which eerily can be found used for children's cups and pacifiers. Leave air in the very top of the vessel. Shake it up, then place the infected water in direct sunlight for at least 4 hours. If the water is murky, filter it or wait for the particles to settle and expose the vessel for another day. Being in the dense forests, I had to think outside the woods box to find the direct sunlight required. Finally, one of my favorite ways to collect water is directly from Mother Nature.
A couple little particles of dirt at the top. What started off as a drizzle quickly turned into a torrential downpour, the likes of which I have not seen since I touched down on this 40-day retreat. And I was literally laying down in a puddle, and now I gotta dry my entire camp. But the benefit is a whole bottle of purified rainwater, which is some of the cleanest water that you can get, as long as you're not in a city, a large city with a lot of air pollution going on. So, thanks, Mother Nature. I really appreciate this, even though you soaked my bed in it as well. In extreme life and death situations, use 2 drops of 6% bleach per quart of water. And then if you can, let this sit for a few hours to at least overnight if you can. And then there's also the technique of using iodine. And I always keep some iodine tablets handy just in case. The days of summer may be coming to an end in 2020. Nevertheless, keeping this temple hydrated is vital for keeping it going, okay? So I wanted to go over some hydration talk with you. Children and elderly are more susceptible to dehydration. And this is because their tolerance for hunger and thirst may be higher for whatever reason. Whether it be an incomplete nervous system or medication, or like the spiritual individual that is able to manipulate the pineal gland, which is the master gland of the body, these individuals need to be more aware of their hydration. Now, it's recommended that we drink 8 cups of water every single day, and 1 to 2 liters of water is recommended highly every day. We can sweat out as much as 1 liter of water per hour in some extreme situations. And losing just 2% of our body's water content can leave us feeling lethargic, irritable, and keep us from keeping focus. And some of the symptoms for dehydration are cottonmouth, lethargy, lack of sweat, nausea, fatigue, headache, cramps, dark urine, and lack of sweat. And if you start experiencing these, you need to stop right away and hydrate yourself, cool down, take a break, maybe assess the situation, what's going on, okay? Because it is a very serious situation. Water is the most important thing that we ingest on a daily basis. And it's not just our intake of water, it's also our diet that helps us determine whether we can retain water or not. Not having these vital electrolytes in our system, it doesn't matter how much water you drink, you will become dehydrated if you lose sodium, calcium, potassium, and magnesium. If you don't have these 4 in your system, you are not going to have water for very long. You can drink gallon after gallon. So I've compiled a list of 9 different foods that we can eat and that I like to eat and that everybody should kind of keep in their diet. And 1 of these is good, 2 of these is great, 3 of these is awesome. You know, you don't have to eat all of these, but try to consider a couple of these for your diet so you can keep those electrolytes going. All right, the number 9 is watermelon at 92% water content. And this is an awesome little buddy. I didn't know it had lycopene, which is a cancer-fighting antioxidant. Number 8 is strawberries at 91%, and those are full of potassium, just like number 7, cantaloupe, which is 90% water, and this is full of potassium as well. Now, number 6 is 89 with peaches, and their skin is just nutrient filled, so don't ever try to peel your peaches like a weirdo. Eat the skin on it, and that's got an awesome, chlorogenic acid, which is another antioxidant which helps to fight disease. So number 5 is oranges at 88%. And another thing I didn't know about oranges are they are anti-inflammatory and they help prevent kidney stones. So a couple added bonuses as well as 88% water content. The next one is number 4, zucchini. Zucchini is 94% water content, and this little bugger is packed full of vitamin C. Number 3 on my list is milk, and milk is 91%. How is milk only 91%? Because the rest of that is electrolytes and protein, and that is what makes milk so thick and delicious. Number 2 on the list is butternut squash, which is about 94% just like zucchini, and it has all your major electrolytes and the perfect amount of content. And number one finally is strong to the finish because he ate his spinach. Popeye knew what he was talking about. Number one is spinach, and this thing is lacking in nothing. It has high water content, high electrolyte content, and there's even some protein in there. Guys, put some of these in your diet, and remember, drink water in the morning. When we sleep at night, our body goes through cycles, and whether you get up to pee like me 5 times or you sleep all through the night and you don't think, well, I don't need anything. Look, have a glass of water before you start chugging that tea, chugging that coffee, and it's going to help you throughout the day. 8 cups, 1 to 2 liters every day. Peace, and have a beautiful, beautiful life. My hidden manna for this time was wild berries, but also something unexpected. Donated food. It seemed that everyone that I expressed my fasting plans to suddenly was in the mood to donate tons and tons of food to me. And before I knew it, I was sitting on enough food to last me months.
When I arrived, there were wild raspberries to be had, but only a few at a time. My nephew helped me find and locate some bunchberries. Shout out to my nephew Xander for helping me film this episode. Unfortunately, the bunchberries we found were full of tiny seeds, which require a strainer to remove. They made for a good trail snack and tasted similar to an apple. The blackberries seemed to tease me. When I arrived, there were young bushes with red berries and a few blackberries sprouting. But only a few handfuls were available after missing the harvest season apparently.
So for this episode, I decided to share my new awesome Sage's diet and a pita flatbread that I've been perfecting by wood fire.
I used an iron skillet, so I began to heat this right away. Tools include frying pan, spatula, bowl, mixing spoon. Ingredients needed: flour, unbleached and all-purpose, salt, olive oil, water. I use about 1 cup of flour roughly to make 3 pita breads. A dash of salt and a splash of olive oil. Then I add water while I mix until it is the consistency of melted chocolate. I stir this until it is mostly smooth. Add a third of this now to my hot iron skillet containing olive oil. I flip the pita several times on medium to high heat for about 15 minutes until Golden brown polka dots are visible. Cool and serve or save for later. They hold about a 2-day shelf life. Individuals may practice this technique in a seated posture with their spines comfortably erect. Rock back and forth until finding comfort and balance. Place the left hand in the lap and allow the arm to rest there, loose like a rope. Open the right hand. Now bend only the index and middle fingers. Using the thumb, close the right nostril. Inhale, completely filling the lungs, and exhale, relaxing the diaphragm completely. Using the ring finger, gently close the left nostril. Inhale, completely filling the lungs, and exhale, relaxing the diaphragm again. Close the right nostril, repeating this step with a full inhalation and exhalation. Close the left nostril, repeating this step. Go back and forth like this for 3 to 7 minutes. Please, close the eyes while practicing this exercise. Focus on the breathing and the posture, just observing, not forcing. When focus wanders, no worries. Gently bring the awareness back to the breathing and the posture. I practice this technique daily after doing my morning yoga. Thank you and namaste. Ego Emulations. Yeah. During my 40-day retreat, I focused on 3 different emulations. Some of these most individuals would never even consider. Number 1, abstaining from stimulation. Lake Himley was a pretty remote location for primitive style camping. I made it a point to just sit and enjoy nature. Electronics here were, thankfully, useless, offering me little temptation. It was difficult even to send a text message, and knowing the weather was simply impossible. Number 2, fasting. Being hypoglycemic, it can be especially hard for me to fast. When my sugar drops, my temper rises and explodes for the most minute of things. Intermittent fasting is a daily practice for me. Only eating at sunrise or sunset. Honey and peanut butter was used to regulate my body's blood sugar. Number 3, Vow of Silence. Days number 1 and 2, I could not keep my mouth shut. By day number 4, I decided that duct tape would help. Until the adhesive began to eat at and melt my skin and facial hair into one thing.
Ow!
By day 5, I was completely losing my mind for lack of expression and lack of stimulation.
This win, man! This win! Fuck you, nature!
On day 6, I decided to throw in the towel. And then it all became so clear.
Took a vow of silence, a week-long vow of silence, and I really ain't got nobody to talk to out here besides Dingo. But I guess I just like to talk, and I can't even go 24 hours without breaking that vow. And now this is day 6, and I just woke up this morning and gave up. I gave up last night, and I'm just utterly defeated. My perspective has totally been completely destroyed, and now I realize that I am a robot. I'm a program, just running. So like Windows 10, except this is human 2020, just running. And I don't even feel human anymore. Lost. Cause this shit's real, man. My vows of silence were the most difficult practices that I have ever attempted, and utterly failed both times. So it's day number 32, and I just finished a secondary vow of silence, and this one was only for 3 days this time, but I feel a lot better about it. I found myself compulsively being quiet. I found myself catching myself more the second time around. Way less anger and frustration. Still a lot though. That's another thing. If you guys like to talk or hear yourself talk, you got to figure things out loud, kind of like I do. You're gonna feel the wrath of yourself inside, and that's the only way I can explain it. I just get mad over the silliest. I already do that, but it's just like times 10. Mad about just the stupidest little things, and I'm talking about a raging rage. I mean, I was out here losing my mind, guys. I'm not even going to bullshit you or beat around the bush or try to pretend like I'm some kind of perfect yoga and meditator and monk or sage or anything like that. Man, I've got issues. I've got serious mental issues, and this retreat and these vows of silence, especially the vows of silence, have taught me that we're just like a rocket, man. We are just like shooting through the universe, okay? We're gonna hit something. What are you gonna hit? What am I gonna hit? We're just that compulsive, and we our little fins can kind of turn us. You know, our consciousness, that's the little fins. They just move ever so slightly and make change to the rockets. Man, we are a machine, and we are just like a juggernaut. And if you don't believe you're a juggernaut, take a vow of silence. If you got like a thing where you talk a lot, or if you don't even have a thing where you talk a lot. I mean, most people believe they have to talk. And so just take a vow of silence, and you'll see how compulsive you really are. Oh, you do that there for their dinghy. Remember, like and subscribe to the Son of Man, please. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.